Alrighty, so if you would like to see the notes again or you missed them the first time, here it is. I have to go a little fast because I only have 5 minutes for the free version. But we did notes on target B. You do not have these notes. I sent them on Remind or they are on Teams, but it's 2 pages that you do not have, so make sure you get them. Or you can write in a notebook. But you have, we're learning about the altitude theorem, one of the many. So basically, when we have a right triangle, so here we have a right triangle because it has a right angle in it. When we have a triangle with a right angle inside of it, we can drop an altitude. We can drop an altitude that'll give us 3 similar triangles all in one. Now you can read this and make sense of it, but I'm going to move on to show you an example. A couple things about notation that you need to know is that for these triangles, we are going to take one big triangle and we're going to pull 3 triangles out of them for a total of 3. With that being said, we need a couple things to know. So all 3 of your triangles will have a right angle somewhere. And across from the right angle, every time across from the right angle, we call that side the hypotenuse. So the side across from a right angle is the hypotenuse. So here's a right angle right here. Across from there is a hypotenuse. And then you're going to also hear me say, what is the short side and what is the long side? Well, you're going to have a very clear short side in these triangles. You're going to have a very clear side that is your shortest side. My shortest side in this triangle out of all 3 of them is this side. That's my short side. And then you're also going to hear me say, what's your long side? Your long side by process of elimination is your last side. So there's my long side. It's not your longest side. Your hypotenuse is always your longest side, but it's your second best. So hypotenuse, short and long. And you're going to see me do that in this next problem. This is just how we split up the triangles, but I'm going to show you doing that now. So the question is going to say solve for x. The very first time you see this, first things first, this works because of the square root or the right angle. So first things first, you want to divide up your 3 triangles. So you want to find your triangles. So the first, I'm always going to do my first triangle, which is my big triangle. Here's my big triangle. And I'm going to redraw it. Here's my big triangle. It looks like this. My long side is on the bottom. My short side's on the left. And I want to go and label my hypotenuse. So remember, my hypotenuse is always across from my right angle. My right angle is going to be right here. So my hypotenuse is this side. And I need to ask myself, what is the length from here to here? And be careful, this total length is 10. So I'm going to put 10 there. My short side is labeled X. So the shortest side in this triangle is right here. It's labeled X. And my long side is Y. So I took my big triangle. My biggest triangle is always my easiest triangle. And I rewrote it. Then I'm going to erase this. And I'm going to go find my medium triangle. I have that's where this altitude comes into play. So I have this altitude that's being dropped from this right angle. So here's an altitude. I have that line coming across, and that'll be one of the sides of my medium triangle. Now pay attention to this. I always want my triangles to be facing the same way. So this triangle is upside down. This blue triangle is upside down for my purple triangle. So I want to still draw it the same way. And that's okay because we're going to reorient it. So I'm going to put my right angle here, but pay close attention to this. Your right angle comes from you cannot use this as your right angle because your altitude cuts inside of it. Your altitude cuts that. But your altitude is going to make a right angle with your side across, which is going to share a right angle with your small triangle, and it's going to share a right angle with your medium triangle. So I can make that my right angle. And then across from that right angle is my hypotenuse. So my hypotenuse in this problem is actually y. And then my y will be there. And then my short side, I don't know my short side. And my long side in this blue triangle is going to be 9. My long side is going to be 9.